Hey guys, welcome back to EO, where we review electronics for our pleasure in your game. I'm Jonathan Pixel.
And I'm Chris Index. And today I've actually brought in my desktop computer to show you guys Windows 8 because there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of confusion about what exactly it is. So we're just going to jump right into it. What we've got here is the first thing you see when you boot up. It's sort of a lock screen for your computer. What Windows 8 is doing is what Apple had done over the past year, and it's synchronizing across all its different devices, mobile, tablet, and desktop, a real feel to it. They're calling things apps. Things are more graphic and live tiles like you might see on a Windows phone.
Sure.
So you present with this lock screen, and it'll give you a few details like weather and how many emails you have on here as well. And you'll pull that right up out of the way, and you'll log in with your Microsoft Live ID.
Okay.
And you're instantly brought to all these live tiles. And this is the biggest difference and the most controversial topic with Windows 8.
So Chris, I notice this is not the desktop. Is there a desktop anymore?
There is still a desktop, trust me.
Okay.
But this has replaced the start menu. You no longer have that bottom left tab that comes up, or even a start orb. And that's what a lot of users are upset about. So your start menu here has all your specific Metro UI apps, as well as your desktop applications. They're all here, and you can organize them whatever way you want.
Okay. I guess that's not bad. I mean, that's moving towards how the tablets are going to be. Mm-hmm. Xbox is the same way. I mean, all Microsoft products.
Yeah, they're synchronizing in Xbox. You've got the Smart Glass app, so you can switch whatever you're watching between screens, and you've got games, which no longer it's no longer called Microsoft Games for Windows. It's now actually called Xbox. Your apps that you'll use, they might be familiar names that you see on Android, like Radiant Defense, or Jetpack Joyride, or Fruit Ninja, Angry Birds. A lot of the apps that you're seeing on Android are popping up on the Windows App Store as well. And then they have achievements that sync into Xbox.
Okay. So you can play like Angry Birds on here?
You can, yeah.
Okay.
And it'll take touch input too. So.
But you can use the mouse since you don't obviously have a touch input. Okay, that's cool.
So we're just going to dive right into some of these apps and take a look at what they look like inside.
All right.
I'm going to start with the Music app.
Sure.
And if you have an Xbox console, you're going to see a lot of the same content. All this here is what you will see on your Xbox Spotlight. We're not connected to the internet right now, so that's why it's not loading. Okay. But all the way on the left, you've got your local music. And I really love this album by Wham, George Michael. So
good old George Michael.
We're gonna play that. And immediately you've got this context menu that pops up on the bottom. And that's what you're going to see with every Metro app. You can easily get to it by right-clicking or hitting the Windows Z.
Okay.
Additionally, you've also got other menus that are new to Windows 8. You have the Charms menu, which brings up this kind of overlay. And on the right, you've got the search, where you can search all your apps, kind of like a unified search from Android. Mm-hmm. You've also got your settings, connect to the internet, your volume, screen brightness. That would be for the tablet. Obviously, it doesn't work because I'm on the desktop. And then you've got share, which, if I'm whatever I've got open, whether it's a web page or something else, I can click share, and then through an app, share it just like any phone would.
Okay. So I don't see a minimize button. I don't see a close button. How do you go to do another app? How do you transition?
And that's perhaps where the biggest learning curve comes in for Windows 8. As a user, it took me a while to figure it out. To get rid of a Metro app, you grab the top with your hand, and then you toss it down. But I don't want to do that. I really like the song. So I'm going to toss it to the left. And then I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing by going to the desktop.
Okay. I know most people at home have a 19-inch monitor or a 21-inch monitor, and this seems to take up a good size of the monitor. Is there any other ways you can adjust it, make it smaller?
As long as it's a widescreen monitor, it's going to scale proportionally. But Windows 8 is really limited in this. It's either here or there.
Oh.
And if you're on your desktop, that's completely useless.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a lot better, if you're using a messaging client or if you just want the weather in the left pane.
Which I see that working really well for messaging. So now we have the desktop, which is an app. Where's the start menu? Or there's no start button. Can you?
That's right. So this is perhaps the biggest complaints from Windows 8 users. The start menu is completely changed. You have to exit whatever you're doing to search for whatever app you want. So if I want to get somewhere.
Did you just start typing?
Yeah, you start typing and automatically start searching on the start menu. So it's this really roundabout way just to get to the desktop. And the desktop, operates like an app on a large scale. But once you're inside, it's really just like Windows 7.
Okay.
The only thing, I can still grab it, I can still toss it wherever I want. But the same snaps are there. So
Sure.
uh,
You got Spotify.
actually, Spotify probably won't snap. But like Windows 7, things are still snapping everywhere.
So if it snaps, it's going to snap to this edge. Correct.
Yeah, it should. So it
Okay.
snaps to that edge. I mean, you still got arrow, peek through, all those
Okay.
features are still there. What I would really recommend for users like me who really don't like the fact that the start orb is gone and then you have to leave the menu, it's that Starduck software. They make a few programs like ObjectDock and Fences, which I also use. But they created a program called Start 8.
Okay.
And it basically brings back that functionality that was in Windows 7. And I've ran a script to get rid of it without installing. But when I bring it back,
Oh, look at that.
you've got your start orb.
You got the
And,
start now.
It's highly customizable, but it's really back to the experience. So if you're one of those users that are really uneasy about switching for that reason, there's a cheap application out there to bring that functionality back.
Well, that's good. Now, I've heard people say that Windows 8 can't run older programs. Is that true?
It's fairly untrue. They may not be advertised as operating on Windows 8, or they may not have official support. But if it runs on 7, odds are it's going to run on 8. There's really not too much difference on the inside.
So mostly Windows 8 was just more of upgrading the performance and just how it looks and interacts with the users.
That's right. For me, it was the look and just generically being faster. There's a few specific things that I like for Windows 8, and one of them being is the remade Task Manager.
Hey, look at that. It looks like you can actually see more what's going on.
Yeah, it's totally informative. It's no longer just a little thing and you're going through it. You no longer have to go through a bunch of different applications to figure
Sure.
out what you're running at startup. It tells you exactly what comes up at startup, where it is, and the sub-processes, and even the impact it's going to have as far as time goes. And what I really like, the performance. It gives you these lovely graphs on how fast it's working and how much it's using of your resources.
That's awesome. That's really nice to know. Now, we talked about earlier about copying files. Usually you have a little bar, the little green bar that just expands and it shows you when it's done. Does that do the same thing here?
Yeah, John was talking about something I showed him earlier today. And, this is just a little thing that I can geek out about. But when you're copying files, it'll give you exactly how fast it's going on a little graph, and you'll just wait for it. It really makes the waiting, just that
Makes
much
it a little bit
more
more
enjoyable.
interesting, yeah. I guess it shows you what files are going faster and all that. But I mean, I like it.
Yeah,
Something else to look at.
it gives you a pictorial representation of how your data is moving. One of the other things is they're bringing in some of the on-screen keyboard has been redone. It's going to be like what you have on like the RT tablet and things like that. So you have different options depending on the size of your monitor and how you want to interact it. If you want to interact it with a stylus, or I don't know what that is. Just went away. So it
that
used
was
to be
just
it used to be a
bring it
small feature of Windows, and now that we're going towards touch, they've actually brought it back into the interface.
Which is nice. Now, I'm kind of jumping back to this. If I don't want this anymore, how do I close out of this?
The same way, you can drag it down, but additionally, the top left has a new option, and to show it, I'm going to have to open up another application, and then I'm going to Alt-Tab over to my desktop.
Okay.
So if I mouse over to top left, it shows me all my running Metro apps and the desktop.
Okay.
So I've got Dropbox in the background. So if I have like Dropbox, I can switch it over.
Okay. Wow. So why did you decide to get Windows 8?
As I said before, it's a lot of the small reasons, not so much the start screen. For me, the design is a lot better. Ever since Windows found out that you could do transparency, things were rounded, things were transparent. And for me as a user, it's not something that appealed to me. So I would always think my computers are always nice and square. So it immediately caught my eye as far as design goes. Additionally, it's the small inner activities of Windows, like the Task Manager and moving files that they really brought as major features.
Sure.
And then it's just the general overall improvement as far as speed and boot time actually goes.
Do you want to show us how fast it is?
Sure, we'll do it. We'll do it actually live on camera right now. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go over the top right. I'm going to go to Charms, go to Settings. I'm going to click my power option, and we're going to do a straight restart.
Okay.
And see how long that takes.
I'm sure it takes longer to shut down other programs if there are more programs running.
Well, yeah, it's going to have to close to the applications that you already have,
Okay.
and so it's off. Right
Sure.
now, it just shut down, and now it's about to boot right back up.
Good Oasis.
So here's your splash screen for Windows.
Not very fancy.
They're going with a lot more minimalist
Okay.
look. All those square corners.
Yeah. Seems a little slow.
Well, and this is me with all my applications.
Oh, sure,
So
yeah.
this isn't a brand new computer.
So if you have more,
It isn't bogged down by like years of use.
yeah.
But you know, it does have a lot of my big applications. It has a lot of updates that are running right at the beginning.
So you have a lot of things running right when it boots up, so it has
That's
to
right.
pull them all up.
And then once you log in, you would normally be brought straight to the desktop, but I have Stardate, so it brings me straight
So
to the
Stardate
desktop
actually brings you to- okay.
rather than here. So
Which some people might prefer that.
and that
prefer
option's customizable within the program.
Sure.
And so you're brought here. And even here, if you've got things like Rainmeter or some other applications that pop up on your desktop, if you're here for a few seconds too, it's also starting up on the desktop.
Okay. Wow, a cluttered.
Cluttered
Okay,
desktop.
what did you just do here? You just
That's another application from Stardock. It's called
Okay.
Fences. It's one of the new features along with upgrading to Windows 8 compatibility. So I just got my files out of the way.
okay, cool. Well, this was Windows 8 this week. Next week we're going to be showing you the
Jambox.
Java Jambox.
That's right, and that's this guy right here. He's been producing our audio today as well. It syncs wirelessly over Bluetooth. It also takes just standard 3.5 millimeter. It's a really powerful, really tiny portable speaker, and this is what we're going to be talking about next week.
So Chris, what's new in the tech world?
Well, this is something that I've got mixed reviews on, but I was reading this article, and it's about the new Xbox console.
Okay.
And the deal is that they're looking at not being allowed to resell games. Basically,
Resell?
Yeah. So you take it to something like GameStop and you
Oh.
sell the game back. What they're doing is with the game, there's going to be an activation code that's going to be associated with your Xbox account. That way, it's linked directly to you as a user.
So would that be getting away from using disk, or would that?
You would probably use the disc.
Okay.
It would run off the disc. It's not going to be downloaded to
So it'd
your
be like a
Xbox.
one-time use. You insert the disk, and they'll ask for this code. You enter the code, I guess.
Yeah, you enter the code and it's like your license to play the game.
Okay.
Because one of the big things in the game industry is the fact that stores like GameStop, who resell games, doesn't give any money back to the people who own the royalties or the
Sure.
copyrights, the game makers.
Well, isn't that kind of the same? Well, I guess Redbox, when they rent games, you're paying for it. So
People are still waiting to see if Xbox will have some other way for people to share games.
Sure.
Because the fact that I can't be like, here, try out this game, it's really awesome, or the fact that I can get some money from a game that I played through and I no longer have a need to own. So people are still waiting if Xbox is going to address that, because people aren't really too happy
I could see that being a big
with
issue.
that kind of structure.
Because then just game sharing between friends, it would not happen.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Yep.